Yeah.
Yo.
That I can't go and stream or go in at all. So I'm like, all right. I mean, I didn't give a about going anyways, but Moises wanted to stream there.
Yeah.
And then they said, yeah, ICE is not allowed here. It's like, all right, well.
And you tomorrow, Moises.
It's not. The exact word was unwelcome.
Yeah, they said you and ICE are unwelcome at Iron Forge. That's exactly
Yeah,
what
I wonder
said.
why.
It's not banned.
Oh, it's banned.
Yeah, they're.
Ice Poseidon also clarified that he actually had some issues with Miskiff, which he stated later in the stream, which a few fans speculate that might be the reason for him being banned from the 24/7 gym.
Hello.
No.
I'm impressed by your content.
No.
Let's partner up to elevate your channel's
My
visibility.
God, how do I just
$1,000
started and you're already spamming me and getting blocked? The
Contact
fuck,
us on
dude?
Discord at
You contact yourself. Contact us. There is no us. You're an asshole.
Twin Finite 59,000. Twin Finite underscore
Remove
48.
this fucking asshole.
And you're over here chirping
Fuck
all the way
off.
from fucking London
And
about
fuck
Palestine
off.
and doing a both sides are fucking fine type bullshit. Where you're talking about how
I mean, I don't know really. I mean, like Hassan's in California. I mean, neither of us, nobody here, maybe a few people in chat, right, are actually in Palestine. But I'm pretty sure everybody watching this is really just kind of like, they should do this, they should do that.
Yeah, no shit. That's everyone.
But also simultaneously, you know, both sides got a lot going on. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything, okay? I don't give a shit about what your perspective is.
I agree. Hassan doesn't like what you have to say, so you're wrong. It's Hassan's.
In its next clip, Extra Emily went viral on social media after being accused of trespassing after she live streamed where she added an air tag to a balloon, and while searching for the balloon, the streamer arrived at a desolate landscape and finds out that she was on private property.
Oh, I apologize. I'm trying to find an air tag that I lost here. But
I remember that.
oh, so I have like this project where I put an air tag in a balloon, and then the balloon like fell in this area. So.
Cannot be here, man.
Okay, I understand. I can leave. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. He was nice.
Don't come the raw prawn with me.
We tried.
Don't come the
Yeah,
raw prawn with me.
That's a plus. Okay. We tried.
A new Dr. Disrespect theory dropped yesterday and posted on LSF about Dr. Disrespect's ban, which sparked debate within the community.
I'm
But
a
here's the
man
clip
eater.
first.
I'm the jump master. This is exciting.
It's been a long time.
Please tell us.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's so long.
Jumping. Remember to keep your mouth closed for bugs.
Debate within the community, but here's the clip first.
But over
two-decade-long career,
surely my would.
Dan,
it's been a long time.
Please tell us.
Yeah, it's been a long
It's so
time.
long that the person involved is probably okay now.
My memory is really bad because this was like 2 years ago, and I was in Outpost buying a minicopter, and I remember someone saying Dr. Disrespect got banned from Twitch because he was messaging.
What kind of a drop was that?
On Twitch, he said that.
Wait, what?
That's not it.
We're about to learn all about the DMCA process now.
That's what I'm saying. What I heard it was. He said that got banned from Twitch because he was messaging underage girls on Twitch. He said that.
Wait, what?
That's not it.
We're about to learn all about the DMCA process now.
That's what I'm saying. What I heard it was. He say that. Why did he say that?
He must have heard it.
Am I not allowed to say what I heard in Rust?
That's insane.
His crew on Rust is a wild.
If I'm the doc, I'm suing you right now.
I would actually sue you.
After this clip was shared, many in the community shared their thoughts, with one commenting, "Pretty sure it's not as fun as you think." They banned him indefinitely for some stupid anti-protected class thing he said randomly on stream or streaming in the bathroom at TwitchCon. He took the issue with the indefinite part. Remember, they were banning everyone at the time for however long they want and not telling the streamer. Threatened to sue and send some letters from a lawyer. They said, okay, now your ban is permanent. He and his lawyer filed and they settled for some money to make the case go away on the condition that he can never say anything about the ban or the settlement. Another user shared, you just took a shot at not just a person but this man's brand as Dr. Disrespect, his image. These types of lawsuits happen all the time. That's why people normally don't name drop when doing it. They hint out at who it is, but this guy really went for it. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. Also during Destiny's stream, Dan Saltman calls out the Twitch of CEO Dan Clancy. Here's a clip.
I agree.
Which are, you know, when you're a creative type.
I don't even know what Twitch's policies are
Yeah,
anymore.
that's what, yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point, Dan.
They flip flop.
Yeah, we don't even know what they are. I understand this. Listen, Lycan.
Yeah.
Pulling the camera on me. I have a message for Dan Clancy.
You got it.
Shut up and don't interrupt me.
No, we won't.
Nah, that's important. Hey, Dan. Dan here. I wanted to let you know that we're tired of your site changing the rules every week. Nobody knows what's going on. Get your shit together, unban Destiny, fucking make a site that people actually want to go to. It's disgusting and it's stupid that you've let it go this long. Just fuck up! Alright? The misspeak needs to end. And you, Dan, I emailed you and I asked you 3 times on ban and you said nothing. He God damn it.
misspoke. Hold on. Do you understand the? Do you understand?
Stupid.
Do you understand the misspeaking thing? We can talk when Dan ducks.
Look at this. It looks like I've had a hard fall. No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Life alert. Why you?
Pokemon is for nerds.
Do you play Pokemon Go?
Getting hurt over here.
Oh, okay.
Dupes a cloud.
Have fun at Porkler.
An opponent landed.
Bye bye.
Enemy nearby.
Pokemon dudes are nerds.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah. Bye bye.
Shroud clears all the mines.
Spotted an enemy over here.
Target. Enemy spotted. They look small.
Broke their shields.
Got one spotted.
Firing. Reloading. Recharging my shields. 1 sec.
Bam to the woozle. Sending out a decoy. Zipline here.
Well, it's clear.
Debate Sultan check.
You pretend to shake salt in your mouth.
Reloading.
Zipline over there.
Sia is having a great experience playing Star Citizen.
Get some back chest chills. Broke their shields. Reloading.
Just a scare. 1 second.
By the way, game's not crashed once. We do need to give it credit. We do need to get a little bit of credit.
Killed an enemy.
Opening an evac tower.
Step away from the platform.
Wow, you just did that? Wow. That is the last time I come help you guys at this
Got one
point.
here. Give him my shield to recharge.
Just a scare. 1 second.
Using a phoenix.
Deploying head drone.
1 sec. Healing up.
Hi. Oh, I apologize. I'm trying to find an
There's an enemy by me. Jammers launching.
But
Attention.
so I have this project where I put an air tag in the
Firing.
balloon, and then
New
the
killing.
balloon like
Bam
fell
to
in
the
this
woozle.
area.
Yeah, sending out a decoy.
Here's your birthday present.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Enemy shield broken.
Target right in front of me. Give him my shield to recharge.
Getting arrested. Setting an evac tower.
I'm out of light ammo.
Dupes to the rescue.
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. You didn't even touch that guy before you... Oh my... What am I doing? Get me out of this game. Yeah, good job. Thank you for...
Wait, what?
That's not it.
We're about to learn all about the DMCA process now. That's what I'm saying. What I heard in
Why
Rust.
did he say that? Why did he say that?
So it's different.
So you're racist.
Yes.
Don't interrupt me.
No, we won't.
No, this is
You go.
important.
Something else. LaCroix, I don't get too much. It's too expensive. Other sparkling waters have come in at a low.
Pizza.
Fuck XQC. He needs to come on this show and stop hanging around with fucking
That
retards.
too, like or XQC Felix.
Listen, Felix is good people, actually.
Yeah, he is. But why
Why
is he
hang out
hanging
with Aiden and Ross?
Yeah, I know, because he's trapped in that vortex, man. You guys will pull him out 100%.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
You know what makes money? Sitting down and fucking broadcasting shit at the computer, playing games and doing your thing. Took a page out of my books, Nico. You wanna?
Me when I'm buying Lays.
No, Dan.
Wait, reading up. I already did. There's only
Notice how
one that's
Dan
above
isn't
the
talking
threshold.
to
And I
his
already said
microphone
it.
at all, even though Dan's talking at the same time. You can't even hear him because he's talking away from his microphone.
They can hear me.
They can't hear you, Dan, because you're not even talking into the microphone.
Okay.
If you do that one more time, we'll just say the N-word.
Good. I'm the jump master.
Is it actually on your channel or his channel?
It's my channel.
What's up?
What up, nigga? No! I'm alive! Wait, the guy said that about me 50 times. I can say that. And I use the A, it's fine. Yeah, that's right, Dan. Don't be careful.
That's alright.
Yeah, you're going down if you're not careful.
I don't care. Alright.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Do you play Pokemon Go? Fuck that. Oh, okay. Have fun at Porkler. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's right.
Studying past combatants has served me well.
Bye-bye.
There's a thin line between life and death. Find me there. I'm the jump master. I'll cut us a path.
You pretend to shake
Here we
so
go.
and
Ready
melt
up.
and actually taste it. No way.
I say we move there.
You pretend to shake so in your mouth and actually taste it. No way.
Round one. Beginning ring countdown.
Five? You pretend to shake salt in your mouth, you can actually taste it. No way.
One more minute, amigo. Rings right here. So
45 here.
So close.
Five?
It's go time.
Getting shot at. Broken enemy shield. Reloading. Enemy down.
45 seconds.
Boy jumping. Killed an enemy.
Huh?
Recharging my shield.
Kozu, you don't have friends to play with.
30 seconds until the ring.
Patching
Play,
myself
play.
up.
Okay, it's okay. We can buy. We can buy.
Heads up, we're not alone.
Check it out.
Taking fire.
Lego.
10 seconds. Hasta out. Eight.
Frag out.
Can't find his body now.
Listen up, the ring's moving.
Boone.
Taking fire. Frag out. It's go time.
Charging. Opening fire. Map shows we're spread out. Hit. Getting shot at. Boy jumping.
I got some bad guys here.
Extra supplies over here.
Taking fire.
Recharging my shield. Heads up. Care package coming in. Patching myself up.
I can't get her to say it.
I'm down. No bueno.
Enemy shield broken.
What is this?
Attention. Reloading. I downed an enemy. New kill leader. Watch for them. Enemy taken out. Reloading. Look out, grenade. This time I'm
I stick a fork in you, you're...
What is this? What you doing, girl? What is that? Just arms and a fucking weird half skirt. That's how you end it?
The importance of unifying Taiwan.
This is the world's largest crane, and they're gonna let me drive it. I was surprised when he let me touch it, realizing how much raw power. Just one little joystick.
Just slowly, you see this arrow?
I want to sit on it, but I feel like that's definitely not allowed. Yeah. Remote controlling the world's largest crane with a walkie-talkie. I'm here at Mammoet, the home of the world's largest crane.
Welcome at Mammoet, at our facility in Schiedam. The main things here is wearing the correct PPE for sure. Also stay on the designated walking paths and areas. I would say good luck, and I will be present there, so if you have any question, please let me know.
Not often you get to swing around one of the world's biggest pieces of machinery. Well, apparently it moves pretty slowly, so I'd say it would probably be pretty hard to, accidentally knock a boat over or something. What is this, a crane for ants?
Been on more often with crane companies, so.
First time. We've got some heavy equipment back at our workshop. A couple of 30-foot mast off-road forklifts. I own 5 forklifts for some reason. Everything's looking a lot bigger. Looks a lot smaller from the window. Is the ballast modified shipping containers?
Shipping container is now filled with kidney sand.
It's hard to see, but they're actually lowering the hook for us. So this little crane right here is a crawler crane. It has an 800-ton capacity, and it's giant. But then you look over here. It's going to be a video of me looking up. This crane is operated from that little cabin that's only a few stories off the ground. They have a series of cameras so you can see everything you're doing from inside there, and that's where I'll be operating it from. So this guy's actually their high-speed winch, which they use for lifting smaller things. It's only got a capacity of something like 50 tons. The hydraulic flow rate's over 1,000 liters per minute. The power loader's hydraulic flow rate, I believe, is maybe like 20 liters a minute. So this is almost like the umbilical cord of the entire thing. You can see we've got hydraulic hoses running throughout. The systems design on this is crazy. This is one of 2 of the V8 engines, and you can see all the hydraulic hoses coming out of it. So this crane is completely modular. It can be broken down into 40-foot shipping containers and moved on site. And you can actually see that this winch is actually a 40-foot shipping container. This entire thing can be shipped. So the crane is rotating at top speed right now, and it'll actually take about 15 minutes to do just one revolution. Noisy. 192 wheels. That's a lot of wheels. I've never seen shackles this big before. Oh my God, that might be like, that's probably 100 pounds or more, just the shackle. So this massive warehouse is just for storing the slings. We got even bigger shackles over here. Wow.
This shackle weighs 500 tons.
And even looking at the tracks, that's solid steel, giant curved beams. Right now, they're just lowering the hook off these massive winches. That cable's got to be like 2-inch diameter, and they all serve different purposes.
There's one for the hook, one for the main boom.
Main hook, yeah.
And the third one is for adjusting the hip.
I think we need to be like main hook. See it start to spin up. All right, can you lower the hook?
Follow me.
Can you raise the main boom?
Wow. How about that?
You can see the cable moving, but the speed at which the boom is actually lifting, it's almost imperceptible.
We should land there.
Can
Looks
you
like
move the
fun.
last winch? The main tilt? Yeah, you got it.
Understood. I hear you.
The power. Can we rotate the crane slightly?
I saw someone.
There we go. We're moving really slowly.
Stay him.
All right, that's great. Can we go the opposite way? See how fast you can turn around. That's how long it took to slow down. And now we should start reversing. Wow. The gearing on this thing must be crazy. All right, that's great. You can stop. I'll come up and see you in person. Remote controlling the world's largest crane with a walkie-talkie. Yeah, take a look at the hook of this crane. So this hook weighs 100 tons just by itself. And when you think about the loading capacity of this entire crane, you also have to take into account the cables. Literally unloaded, this crane is already picking up several hundred tons. Can I touch it? I have never in my life seen a cotter pin that big. In fact, it has a cotter pin in the cotter pin. Engineering. I'm gonna ask him to lift the hook and show you just how slowly this actually moves. Can you start raising the hook full speed? You can see him right there. You can hear the engine spooling up and it's starting to lift. When we saw the winches moving, they're moving pretty fast over there. But as you can see, the entire thing is actually a massive snatch block. So it's using crazy mechanical advantage to actually lift things up. Those cables are incredibly heavy. And when you look up, you can see them swaying in the wind. It's hard to describe just how much weight is on that, but it looks like it's just a string. That giant crane helps build some of the world's biggest projects. And to stay organized, hundreds of people at Mammoth have to track tasks and stay organized. Back at our office or around the world, we use a powerful project organizer from this video's sponsor, Odoo. It's our favorite full-service software suite that has everything you need to run a business of any size. In the time it takes the crane to make one full revolution, we've already made and organized this entire video shoot as a project in Odoo. To start, click my link and create a free account. Click the Projects app, and you can easily import tasks from a CSV file, or you can quickly build out and organize anything. The Projects app even talks to other apps in the Odoo software universe, and you can transfer data between them or even help plan a task using AI. It really is that easy. Odoo can also help you track inventory, build a website, manage payments or HR, and so much more. It can replace dozens of or all business functions in one place. And the best part, your first application is free for life. Click the link in the video description below to try Odoo out for free and organize projects like a pro. Now, let's go drive this giant crane. Time to operate this thing. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, James. Until this is the cabin of the world's biggest crane. Don't worry, nothing can happen.
Even just operating it by radio.
Yeah, that to say something is happening.
Yeah, it's hard to, like, I know the video shows the scale, but like being here is insane.
I can give you
a
a quick explanation. These are your joysticks. So joystick 3, 1, and 2. Yeah. So it's an X and a Y axle on the joystick, of course. So you can move the jib, the fly jib, on this one by moving it forward or upwards. Swinging is going left and right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then on this stick is W1 and W2, which is the main boom.
So that's winch 1 and winch 2? Yeah, I can see W1, W2. Yeah, you can see the numbers over there on the winches, which correspond basically to the joysticks. So right now the joysticks are just controlling the winches essentially. That's the majority of the main movements of the crane.
Yeah, so if you want, you can start if you want. Yeah, this joystick forwards is hoist 1 and 2 down.
Alright, so we gotta move the middle winches.
Yep.
So
Forwards to forward.
switch and forwards. Wow.
Yeah, and there they go. Now at the moment we are in high flow and the trim mode. So that's
we're on high speed mode.
Yes, now it's high speed mode. It's 1,000 liters of oil a minute. 1,000 liters of oil a minute. That's 4 pumps on 2 winches now. That's fast. You cannot do that with a full load, but to move the empty hook and light loads, that's what this setting is made for.
How low can we bring it?
You can bring it all the way to the, at the moment we are 163, 164 meters high, you see.
So our hook's currently 35.1 meters from the ground.
At the same time, you can start booming up as well, or booming down, by pushing forward to lower off. If you pull it towards you as well, see the back?
Yeah, we got
W1 and W2.
We got 2 winches going now. Can all 3 go at once or no?
Yes, but then we have to get the high flow out of hoist 1 and 2, because then we use those pumps again for the front one. So if we stop the hoist, then we can do the level. Then we can, here's a button.
So we're switching from high flow to low flow.
Yeah, then we can do all 6 winches in one time.
Oh, okay.
This one, yeah, coming down on the hoist, booming up as well.
Right.
Yeah, and this one, you can also boom down. Yeah, yeah, the power.
Moving all 3 winches,
all 6
winches, I guess, yeah. Am I lowering everything down right now?
Only you're booming up the main.
So if I pull this one back, will that...
That will bring the jib, the lifting jib.
So do I want to go to the right if I want to bring everything down?
You can also swing a little. If you go here to the right, you swing this way. Just slowly. You see this L on the, you want to start slowly. Because it's so, like you're bringing, it's about 8,000, maybe 9,000 ton, the whole crane. So if you start that moving, it won't stop easily. You see it moving?
Yeah.
Wow. Now you can see that you're in the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go over that crane again.
Slowly rotating.
Yeah, so we don't end up with the rope drop on the crane.
Yeah, we gotta rotate so we don't squish that little crane right there.
It's 250 volts.
Little.
Yeah, then they are little, eh?
We're rotating. How did you become a crane operator? And how did you become the world's biggest crane operator?
I started when I was 17 with this company. And actually I started, I started in the yard.
Okay.
Loading and offloading trucks.
Yeah.
And then I made the choice because when I was young I didn't know exactly if I wanted to do the skidding or the jacking or but I liked the cranes both.
Yeah.
So I went with the cranes, and then from smaller crawler cranes to bigger crawler cranes to these ring cranes. And then I like to work abroad as well. There's lots of travel. It's actually quite unique for us to be in Holland. Especially in our own yard. We're in our own yard, of course. It's quite unique for us.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy just realizing how much raw power just one little joystick is operating. Like, how much bigger than this out there?
Setting an evac tower.
That's insane. I'm collecting quite a list of unusual licenses. I've flown jetpacks, jet suits, mech suits, giant cranes, power loader, mech racing. I just need a fighter jet or a spaceship.
Oh yeah? Hi Jace, I'm Leon Ventil. I'm the head of engineering for Mammoth. I've been with the company almost 23 years now. Started as a junior engineer, turned up to be head of engineering at the moment.
What makes this the biggest and best crane in the world?
For this size, there's no crane that you can buy off the market. So we had to design it completely ourselves. What makes it different from others is that crane companies design cranes from a perspective of a crane manufacturer. We designed the crane to be working flawlessly in the field. It's also, it's stronger than other cranes. What's also very neat about this crane is that it's broken up into container-sized pieces.
So Owen and I actually had a bet going.
Zafirko1 says, go residential behind.
1,500 or is it thousands? You know, I'm gonna say it's under 1,000. Price is right rules.
Yeah.
I got a team on me. I
It's
can't.
between 200 and 250 containers.
Oh, a quarter.
Yeah.
There's 3 of these in the world?
There's 3 of these in the world.
And you're working on a bigger one.
And we are working.
Someone requested this crane. How long did it take?
Fuck this game.
Depending on the configuration, because we can build it in so many different configurations, but anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks assembly time.
Is that the same for disassembly, or is it quicker to disassembly?
It's similar. Yeah. It started in 1800 and something, but it wasn't called Mammoth then, but they were a transport company. Van Zoomer family had a similar company, Cranes Transport. They bought Mammoth because of the name Mammoth was more recognized, easier to pronounce than Van Zoomer. They adopted that name in 2000. It's grown into 6,000 plus people.
What are some of the most
The company Chernobyl, one of the most interesting jobs. Well, as we all know, there was a nuclear disaster in Chernobyl. The reactor that melted down has been protected somewhat with a construction after that happened, but that construction was deteriorating over time. So the international community stepped in and said, we need to build something to protect, because if it goes wrong there, the rest of the world gets a piece of that as well. It's a big arch structure. We helped building it. The pieces came in from Italy in large module size component, but that was 300 meters away from the actual reactor building.
We built rails to literally...
Exactly, and we skidded it.
And that was all Mammoth.
That was all Mammoth.
Just take a wild guess, 10, 20 years in the future, are we gonna hit 10,000 ton capacity cranes?
Talked earlier about the guys in the 60s, 70s. You would have asked them, they wouldn't be able to predict this. I'm very cautious to say that we've hit the limit. Our clients want to build bigger and bigger. Wind turbines are getting bigger and higher. Higher up, there's more wind. At the moment, we don't see a decline in the growth. We are already in the process of building a bigger crane, and I bet that's not going to be the last one.
As a kind of closing question, what does Mammoth mean to you? Like, the work you guys are doing is often behind the scenes, but it's really enabling the next step in civilization, like building bigger and bigger things.
Yeah, I have to be honest, when I was in university, I didn't think I was going to end up here first. I came into contact with larger constructions and I got bit by the heavy lifting bug. It's really something that this is what you like. If you like impressive large structures, there's nothing bigger than this. That's why I worked 23 years.
That was fascinating. Thank you, Sam.
No problem.
I learned a lot.
Yeah,
and,
my pleasure.
I'm sure our audience did too, because Remove does some huge things, and I feel like not the world knows.
Glad to have you, and feel free to come by anytime because we do cool stuff all the time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today I gotta read a little creepypasta for you. It's called Gary's Mod Beat.
You're running right into one. You're running right into one.
This is an episode of Haunted Gaming because imagine making a mod for a game 2 decades in the making, okay? And all of a sudden, Nintendo's legal team comes out and smacks you right out of existence. So to give you an idea of what's going on, Gary's Mod is a legendary cultural phenomenon, okay? It is still relevant to this day and age. Now, to give you an idea of Gary's Mod, what it actually is, it's a game that leveled up. Content step back. That is between the copyright holder and the alleged copyright abuser. Now, the problem with this, the United States, for instance, yeah, our attorneys at AULLC take on intransigent and complex matters throughout the United States. So I wanted to make sure that they weren't like Australian, because I don't want to read Australian law. I wanted to read American law, because that's where the law is about. So for instance,
Scrappy DP says,
statute of limitations for copyright infringement. So they said the statute of limitations is and what happens necessarily is something known as the discovery rule. So the majority of courts follow the discovery rule regarding the statute of limitations for copyright infringement. The statute of limitations will start when someone discovers the copyright infringement. Alternatively, the clock will begin when the person should have reasonably discovered the copyright infringement if he or she had been diligent. The latter example, the later example, is referred to as constructive notice. Suppose you just discovered that someone began infringing your copyright 4 years ago. Under the discovery rule, you could still have a copyright infringement claim.
What is going on? Why am I running at like double speed half the time?
This could mean that a Nintendo lawyer, the moment they go on to Gary's Mod Workshop and go, oh my god, this isn't halal, and then they have 3 years to basically file however many, they can go Tommy gun with DMCA lawsuits on the entire story. Or, you know, if the way that I'm reading this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the way that it works is if you go back to the Gary's Mod store and you type in the words Nintendo, for instance, if you click on that GameCube mod, you'll find out that was posted March 4, 2004. In fact, it was even updated to March 13. And this has been rated 404 times. It's literally one of the first items you see when you connect and search for Nintendo. And so, if you can do this, in fact, if you go to this giant Nintendo DS, that's from the year 2019. So, if you start to see this kind of stuff in the first place, where exact models appear
I need heavy ammo if you have any.
brand, your actual products, your games, then because this existed so long ago and you didn't act on it, when again, I have to imagine a Nintendo legal team probably does scour for like copyright infringement stuff on the internet all the time. And Valve isn't some dark web corner of the internet, for fuck's sake. It's one of the biggest platforms for PC gaming out there. And Gary's Mod is one of the most popular video games of all time. So I can't imagine that this wouldn't be reasonably found by any legal team that is being held on retainer by one of the largest gaming companies on the planet. So it makes me wonder why now, right? Like, do they even have a case from a statute of limitations as of today? And I'm sure every individual basis is different, and I'm sure a lawyer will probably find a way where Nintendo is, again, within their legal right to do this. And look, Nintendo owns the IP. Even, no matter how much you dislike a Nintendo, and trust me, when it comes to their legal work and their relationship with the modding community and the gaming community in general, I am a very outspoken critic. But at the end of the day, the law is the law. It is property that belongs to them. I think it's entitled to think that you own access to their 3D models and you can do whatever the fuck you want with them in any other video game. You can't. It's not how the law works. But I really wish Nintendo kind of opened up and took a little bit of that tightness out of their asshole, because a lot of big games benefit from being modded, okay? A lot of big IPs are benefited from modding. I don't think that Gary's Mod was harming anybody. I don't think Skibidi Toilet and Mario crossovers on YouTube and TikTok was necessarily harming anyone out there. Maybe Nintendo cares from a family-friendly perspective, But again, I don't think it was that big of an issue for Nintendo to start absolutely tearing down an entire library of modifications and maps. But that's the situation where we're sitting at, ladies and gentlemen. Gary's Mod is currently being attacked by Nintendo. And that is quite literally the best way to put it, okay? 20 years worth of
Oh, we got this if we can just hold everyone out.
if it's Nintendo related. And look, if Nintendo gets away with this, you can
Yeah,
imagine
just cover that door with traps. Dude, they can't get in here. They're done.
I don't know if Rockstar's
Oh, wait, we gotta
interested
go
enough
out.
to
Never
start
mind, I'm
going
an idiot.
after GTA-related mods for Gary's Mod. Highly doubt it, but it sets a precedent that if Nintendo is successful here, other third-party mods are going to. And you know what? To be fair, what happened with Gary's Mod can start happening with, Nexus or any other mod, hosting service out there within the United States. The only way to counter Nintendo here is to literally operate in countries where the DMCA is not in their favor. So again, if these mods were uploaded to like a Russian distribution service, I'm sure at that moment Nintendo could probably not do a single thing to take down these mods. But because they exist in the United States, Valve is an American company, this is the way of the world, unfortunately. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. This is me, Mutahar, and yeah.
Firing! Read up. Independent variable. Throw an arc star. Grenade out. Getting back up from that.
Got him.
With only 2 enemy squads left, the probability of victory rises. Trap set and waiting. Healing my wounds.
Relaxing. Enemy spotted. Sorry, it's really hard to stream and relax. Okay,
Tons of PC hardware news to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're seeing headlines that some Intel CPUs lost 9% of their performance overnight. What could that be about? Well, this looks like a consequence of the whole instability issues that we've been seeing widely reported. I've talked about in my last couple of news videos, on especially on i9 14900K and 13900K CPUs. Now, it's looking like as people have been digging into this, that one of the potential issues is motherboard manufacturers setting very aggressive settings out of the box. And so, like Asus motherboards have now enabled a baseline profile, an Intel baseline profile option, which would turn off all of their auto settings and go back to those more conservative baseline settings, which apparently looks like...
I need help up here. There's two coming up here. I don't have any heavy ammo.
To those settings, but if that does more stability, it might be I'm just still interested in how all of this plays out. If we get any kind of official statement from Intel about the issues and things like that. And speaking of official statements from companies that are in the news for not positive reasons, if you guys follow Nexus, we're talking about DK Waterbox and all sorts of issues the company has been having recently, including to not only business partners, but employees, all sorts of things. There's a lot going on there, and my intention is not to recount all of that. I'm just going to do that by saying that EK Waterbox and
Good job, boys! Man, that was fucking rough.
GG.
I can't believe we got that. I'm sorry, I wasn't even good at that.
Zaperko1 says, my mouse died.
acknowledging issues and saying that they have
That's a win right there!
Zaperko1 says,
And my throat's starting to feel better.
ago.
My mouth.
About time frames for payments and things like that. And in general, he does mention that he took over as CEO in February. Now, he is the founder of the company, but had not been, to my understanding, operating as the actual CEO, wasn't overseeing all of the business administration. So to me, what this sounds like is that the founder became aware of issues with the company.
Looks like that ibuprofen and that whatever else thing I took
CEO that
might be
had
kicking
been
in.
running things back in February to try to right ship, and now a lot of this is coming to light in these videos and things like that. So I'm hopeful that this is a sign that the founder really was in good faith trying to come out and solve these issues as of a couple of months ago, and maybe that just hadn't been fully taken care of by the time this came to light in news outlets and things like that. So anyway, I have absolutely no inside knowledge on this whole situation. Just wanted to point out that it is now being acknowledged by the EK Waterblock's founder and current CEO. And again, I will link all of this in my video description. Let's turn to stuff that's more in my wheelhouse that I like to report on, which is just like prices of things and deals and stuff for PC hardware. I did post on my community page a day ago that it's looking like Newegg was running some good sales deals on, especially on a variety of hardware, but on graphics cards. I saw the 7900 XTX dropped to $850 if you used a $100 discount code. Now this one did say it required Newegg Plus membership, so at first I was going to be kind of dismissive, like, oh, you have to sign up for like pay some kind of membership. But actually it's not a paid membership. It does look like a free membership. So that actually makes it a bit less annoying. Still would be nice to just get this price right out of the box. But I also did see that the 7800 XT also was able to get $50 off using the Newegg Plus membership, and that brought it down to $480. These are both Power Color Hellhound models for the 7800 XT and 7900 XTX respectively. So that seemed like some deals worth reporting. Nothing absolutely mind-blowing, but certainly better than
Scrappy DP says, I won last game.
Now in other AMD news, we are seeing that AMD motherboard manufacturers...
Scrappy DP says, not this game with that drop. Scrappy DP says, Jess 8S. Sparky says, congrats.
AMD Ryzen 9000, that's the Zen 5 CPUs.
NYU_Tumbedo says, sheesh.
So that indicates that we should be seeing the Ryzen 9000 very soon. Now, another reason we might be seeing those coming soon is, well, this might not be actual like 9000 desktop CPUs, these are actually APUs, but we see a massive leak. Now, I do want to stress this is now not official information, but
like, I don't know who was coming after me, but I wasn't sticking around.
This does
I only have
look
2
like
handguns.
A document was posted, I think it's at 144-page document or something like that. The kind of thing that doesn't sound like a random nonsense made-up post. Seems like it could be very, could be legit. It was originally, looks like it was discovered.
I need heavy ammo, I need light ammo.
The original tweet was taken down, but then other news outlets like the video cards.
There's people coming?
I'm making here. Have posted screenshots from this information. So this does look like legit.
Broke him. There's another one up top.
It's being reported at a variety of places. The WCCF Tech article here, I think, does a pretty good summary of the stats that we're seeing on this wall. So basically, you would see a monolithic design and then a chiplet design that would be higher end. The monolithic design CPU cores will go up to 12 cores, but it's a hybrid of some Zen 5 and some Zen 5 cores. So that would be 12 cores total. And that would go up to 24 megabytes of L3 cache, 12 megabytes of L2 cache, and 16 RDNA 3 Plus compute units for the GPU. Now that's pretty interesting, just because that is a lot of compute units for an APU. And then when you look at the higher end spec version, we're going to see that they even go beyond this. So that's pretty interesting. Now, one thing about integrated GPUs is that they can be very reliant on memory bandwidth, and because they don't have their dedicated VRAM, right? And so it looks like these will support up to LPDDR5 7500 or DDR5 5600 support. It's going up to speeds of 7500 could help with some of that APU performance. And they also will, looks like, have some AI acceleration going up to 50 tops for AI compute, AI acceleration, and expected launch in the second half of 2024. And these would go up to from 28 watts to 65 watts. And then it's looking like the higher-end spec version of this, the Strix Halo, is interesting that it goes up to 16 cores and then, more threads. And 64 megabytes of shared L3 cache, and then check this out on the GPU for this thing. 40 RDNA 3 Plus compute units. That's pretty interesting. That is quite a bit of compute units for an APU, for integrated graphics. Now, again, they can be limited by their memory bandwidth on an APU, right? You don't have dedicated VRAM. But this is interesting. It looks like reports of 32 megabytes of MALL cache for the iGPU. So I guess the idea there is that would function sort of like Infinity Cache, as I understand it. In other words, this could help boost performance beyond what you would usually see in an APU. I think if that functions the way I imagine it would. And then looks like this could go up to a 256-bit LPDDR5X8000 memory controller, which is interesting. 60 AI slots, and again, second half 2024 launch expected. And these ones would range from 55 watts up to 130 watts. So these look like they could be pretty powerful. Now we would expect to probably get announcements for these at Computex. Would be the most likely thing with AMD giving a keynote. I believe Lisa Su's giving the keynote for Computex, which would be, did they mention it here? I think they probably would. Yeah, 2024 doing the AMD keynote. I think it's the beginning of June. Yeah, and it's also looking like NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang, while not delivering the Computex keynote, will be delivering his keynote address right before Computex begins on June 2nd. Now, I was hoping this would be about maybe GPU news or something, but it seems like it's very AI-focused, which is not shocking from NVIDIA right now. So it's looking like a live keynote on June 2nd at 7 p.m. at Taiwan time at the Antico Sports Center about how the era of AI is driving a new industrial revolution across the globe. So, interesting. So here's the list of the Computex keynotes. So we have the NVIDIA one coming in before Computex, AMD giving the actual, I think, Computex opening keynote, and then looks like Qualcomm, Intel, MediaTek, and others will have some other keynote addresses as well. It'll be interesting to see what we get. But like I said, the AMD keynote is probably where we'll be seeing announcements of those new APUs coming out, and maybe we'll hear something about the 9000 series desktop CPUs as well. In more of the leak and rumor side of things, we are seeing some information that AMD's next generation of GPUs, which will be RDNA 4 or the RX 8000 series, might only be utilizing 18 gigabit per second GDDR6 memory across the entire lineup. Now, again, this is not official information. You always want to dig into where are the sources. Looks like the source for this one is a tweet from Kepler. Now, Kepler has leaked information correctly for AMD cards in the past, but I believe has also missed the mark before, so I would not just double down on saying this is 100% happening. Now, when that was taken maybe out of context, or to clarify the context, somebody did ask all of RDNA 4, and the reply was yes.
I don't even know where you're shooting at.
Trust Kepler on this. Again, leaks, rumors, all of that, then that would imply that we would be getting only 18 gigabits across the RDNA 4 lineup. Now, if you look at the 7000 series RDNA 3 lineup, you can see that some models actually are 20 gigabit per second, 19.5 gigabit per second, but much of the lineup is 18 gigabit per second. So this would mean that it wouldn't be any faster, really, than the memory that we're seeing on the 7000 series, and for some models could be downgrade. However, this could fit into the rumors, and again, stressing rumors, none of it's official, that RDNA 4 will kind of be maybe like not a full generation, meaning like they might not try to have a high-end, they might just be shipping and then follow up with a more advanced high-end, maybe not having to wait a full 2 years for that next follow-up. Again, those are rumors as I understand them at this point, and not official information, but maybe the slower memory speeds would line up with trying to go for value in the low end rather than having RDNA 4 compete at the higher end. We'll just have to see how it all plays out, and all of that's leaks and rumors anyway. But what about Intel with their next GPU lineup? Well, the latest Battle Mage information I think for you is about its DisplayPort 2.0 support. Probably topping out with 5, which is not the full spec. But honestly, I don't think this is a huge deal anyway. This seems to be, again, just coming from some patch notes where it says removed UHBR 20 support, and then it says set maximum DP rate to UHBR 13.5. Now, really all of this just has to do with what resolution and frame rate of monitor can you drive before having to use display stream compression. DSC doesn't usually tend to be that big of an issue, so I don't see this as a massive problem or anything like that, but I just thought I'd share the latest Intel GPU leaks. Now getting into something that's not a leak, but actually news, is Intel Arc drivers are again claiming some big performance uplifts in specific games, and specifically this is saying for integrated GPUs, which is kind of a big deal for handhelds like well, most handhelds.
I have some heavy ammo. You want some?
Specifically the MSI Claw handheld. And it's claiming a big boost in gaming performance with these new GPU drivers, up to 44% gains in certain games. Also a new BIOS, so it's unclear in this claim how much of that is the BIOS update and how much of it is the GPU drivers, but it sounds like the GPU drivers are claiming some pretty significant gains. So anyway, it sounds like at least certain titles might be seeing some big performance boosts, so that's interesting.
How much you need?
Specific claims in F123, Hogwarts Legacy, Diablo 4, Forza Horizon 5, Dead Space, Helldivers 2, and Hogwarts Legacy. With some pretty noticeable gains. However, again, this is not something that I have tested myself. This is just reporting on news claims. So be that as it may, I'm still not sure this would make me want to buy the Intel handheld as opposed to something like maybe Asus ROG Ally, which is also apparently now getting an update to include fluid motion frame support. That's the driver level frame generation, as opposed to FSR3, which is the in-game integrated frame generation, which requires specific game support. Asus has just announced that the ROG Ally is being updated to have fluid motion frame support, so that is nice to see for those of you who want to use that. Again, my uses with it, have been pretty hit or miss. I'm curious how it would play out in this situation. But anyway, it's available. Now, in other big news, Unreal Engine 5.4 has been released, and this makes some big claims. TSR. Now, TSR is kind of like FSR or XeSS, advanced temporal upscaling. It's more like FSR and XeSS in that it can run on a variety of hardware. Proprietary matter. However, TSR is unique to Unreal Engine. This is not one option that's available across different game engines, so it would only be Unreal Engine games that use this. However, TSR has delivered some very good upscaling. Oftentimes better than
1 month running.
And, in a lot of games. So if it's improved even more, that's only good news in my opinion. A lot of Unreal Engine games are on upscaling for performance. Additionally, they're already saying higher performance and faster hardware ray tracing overall. So it's looking like they're making claims that they're making a lot of performance optimizations, upscaling optimizations, which is pretty cool. I hope this is true. If you're looking at what exactly is TSR doing differently, it says that like one possible improvement is called History Resurrection, where it's a new feature that will be added to high, epic, and cinematic anti-aliasing. Once TSR discards details for various reasons, such as occlusion, shading changes, or the simple fact that something is now out of the screen, the reaccumulation could have caused artifacts, but History Resurrection will keep the TSR historical data that can be used for showing the data gain unless a better matches found in more recent frames, and this feature will improve PSR stability and ensure that the output can be predicted, and furthermore, that would mean less ghosting. So, other information available in various articles and videos. Again, I will link all my sources in the video description. Again, they are claiming faster hardware ray tracing. Now, I've noticed that many Unreal Engine 5 games on PC do not support hardware ray tracing. That they support Lumen, but they use the software version. Almost none of the games I have tested for Unreal Engine 5 have actually supported hardware Lumen. I think we had Layers of Fear supported it, and I think there might be some other kind of smaller, more indie-style game that have supported it. But most of the bigger Unreal Engine 5 games have just been software Lumen. I know Fortnite itself does support hardware Lumen. But anyway, I'm seeing that Gray Zone is being announced as a game that will not only support NVIDIA DLSS 3, but will have ray-traced enhanced Lumen, like the hardware ray-tracing version of Lumen, which is interesting. The game's not out yet, but I thought I'm just trying to track down. I'm curious about the whole situation with hardware accelerated Lumen. Now, speaking of interesting ray tracing implementation, this is the rumor side of things, but apparently rumors are pointing to a Splinter Cell game having stealth mechanics that allow enemies to detect from Visceral, saying it will have some pretty cool features like enemies being able to detect you based on ray trace reflections, ray traced audio, etc. And confirming that Splinter Cell Remake is in development at Ubisoft. So,
Sparky
Get
says,
back!
no,
Get back! Get back to me!
For applications other than just, you know, the visual side of things, so kind of anyway, in other Unreal Engine 5 games getting updates, we see Lords of the Fallen getting a big 1.5 update that is introducing support for AMD's FSR3 with the latest version, as well as some big game modifier systems for the actual game itself. I'm mostly reporting on this for the FSR3 integration. Lords of the Fallen, when it initially launched, a lot of
I got a team on me over here.
have FSR3 based on some things in the menu. But it didn't actually support FSR3, and also DLSS 3 was available at launch, but then removed due to crashing issues. So now it looks like we are getting FSR3 support in the game, so that is good to see.
Sparky says, 180 DMG.
We're seeing a new Remnant 2 update, adding DLSS 3.7 and XeSS 1.2 support, which is interesting. The newest versions of those technologies. And we're seeing Forgotten Kingdom DLC support. In other upscaling generation news, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora has a 3.2 update, which is adding Intel XeSS support, which is nice to see, as well as a 40 FPS mode on consoles. Additionally, the frame generation version for FSR3 is getting rolled back. So the update also rolls back AMD FSR3 temporarily to previously to prevent visual artifacts from impacting the interpolation output of FSR3 frame generation. I tested the game on its original FSR3 implementation, but I had heard from people in my comment section that the game had been updated to a newer version that actually looked worse, had more issues. So it looks
Sparky
like
says, okay.
Now, in another game getting update news, so this is kind of an early access game, but some people have been mentioning it in my comment section. No Rest for the Wicked had been having severe performance issues in a lot of people's access so I haven't reported on its system requirements and performance, but I do want to mention that they have released a patch to have a large number of performance updates. So if you have you could go ahead and take a look maybe and see if it's performing better. Speaking of the system requirements, minimum requirements don't put that setting. Apparently, at least at launch, I don't know if it's been updated, there was really only 2 graphic settings, performance and quality. Even on the PC. Now, the minimum didn't seem to ask for a lot, there's 970 RX. However, the recommended settings for 1080p 60 FPS, and the quality graphic settings were actually
Scrappy DP says, from first to third.
As the recommendations, and the CPUs jumping all the way up to a 12600K or a 5800X 3D. And this could point to some of those performance issues where it was apparently difficult to hold 60 frames per second. And that could have been CPU-related issues I was hearing from a lot of people, but I did not test it out myself. Sounds like my kids are getting home, so let's wrap up this video super quick here. I did want to mention that Fallout, after the TV show's success, has updated, not only been seeing a resurgence in players on all of the Fallout games, but Fallout 4 has received a next-gen update that's over 14 gigabytes, but apparently breaks modded saves and doesn't seem to change a whole heck of a lot else. There is some minor changes, but this is causing issues for a massive mod for Fallout London, which was supposed to be like a huge DLC-sized mod, which was going to be released on April 23rd, but with this Fallout next-gen update coming in, it's apparently broken compatibility of the Fallout script extender, which is causing huge issues for that mod team. Additionally, with this Fallout 4 update, the game has received Steam Deck verified status. However, I would really like to mention, while I haven't tried it myself yet, I did check in on the Steam Deck subreddit, and they're reporting some that it's maybe not what people wanted. So apparently, to get the verified tag, all they did was remove the game's launcher so that it didn't require mouse input, which got them the verified status. However, that actually removes one of the ways to change graphic settings in the game. So that's a pretty big downside. I did see a comment saying that there's a launch command you could use to get the launcher to pop up on Steam Deck, and then you can still change graphic settings. So that seems kind of bad. And we're also seeing reports that Fallout 4 is still running at half frame rates on the OLED version of the Steam Deck, even after the verified patch.
Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them, and then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious, and more depressed, and more obese, and more addicted, and we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
Author and Professor Scott Galloway went on an absolute tear on Morning Joe, perfectly explaining some of the problems that young people are facing in modern America. Now, Galloway was very detailed in his analysis and covered a wide variety of topics, which we'll break down one by one. First is the notion that young Americans are financially worse off now than their parents were. Let's take a look.
And there are people who make an exceptionally good living, but it's all current income, and they live in a blue state. They might be paying 50 to 54% tax rate. I bet some of those people are on around this table right now. But if you can make the jump to Lightspeed and invest in assets, stocks, housing, then your tax rate plummets. So in America, we've decided to try and create a super class of billionaires, and then if they win the gold medal, we're going to give them the silver and the bronze. Two biggest tax deductions, capital gains and mortgage interest. Who owns homes and stocks? People my age. Who doesn't know? Who rents and makes their money from current income? Young people. So we've decided that the wealthiest people in the world should get exceptionally more wealthy. Minimum wage stuck at $9.25. Stock market is screamed up. The average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. We are purposely transferring more wealth from the poor and middle class to the upper class to the super rich, and from young to old.
Man, look, he said a lot there. And there were points of his statement that really, really struck a nerve with me personally, really hit home. You know, he starts off by talking about the 55% tax rate if you live in a blue state. That includes the local taxes, state taxes, and federal taxes. And how you don't get the tax breaks if you haven't been privileged enough to afford astronomically priced houses, okay? You don't get the kind of tax benefits and deductions that people who have built a tremendous amount of wealth get to take advantage of. God, that really hit home for me. And then, by the way,
look
you
at your
add that
face from the
extra
neck
layer
up to the neck down.
of feeling like the taxes that you pay don't actually go back to benefiting the community you live in, doesn't actually make your life better. You see what the money gets wasted on. You see how much money we spend on foreign wars and things like that. Yeah, it's infuriating. Like, finally, you hear someone on cable television, no less, vocalizing the actual rage that young Americans are feeling and accurately explaining where that rage stems from.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who can make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's going to make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you. Thank you. Look, we talk often on the show about having open hearts, being kind, caring, decent, and open minds, and making sure that you don't cancel people, hear people out. So there are opinions that Scott Galloway has that I totally vehemently disagree with.
Agreed, yes.
But he was absolutely brilliant here. 100% right. And so there's two sets of folks in the country who are the most screwed. One is the middle class, because, look, when I was poor, I didn't pay that much taxes, and I got unemployment benefits, etc. So, look, I had 1,000 other problems being poor, right? But taxes wasn't high on the list. When they're rich, they stop paying taxes too, for all the legal reasons, but that's the problem, is that they changed the laws so they would pay less taxes than this. Let alone capital gains. The carried interest loophole is insanity. Insanity. We're like the top venture capitalists in the world, private equity guys.
How am I getting hit from up there when I'm down there?
The billionaires, I think on average, are paying only 8% in taxes. Okay, so it's just a crime how little taxes the rich pay. So somebody's got to lift that burden, and it's a giant burden. We got to pay for defense, got to pay for all these different things, right? So they just dump everything on the middle class. The middle class pays the most by far, and they go, so what? Take it, okay?
Right, and then let me just add a little bit more to that. And then you have situations in which, you pay your taxes, they're astronomical if you're a working middle class American. And then in high tax states like California, $24 billion over 5 years spent on homelessness. They face an audit. They can't account for that money. They can't account for that money.
Yeah, and guys, so they're also risking a little bit of a rebellion here. The top 10% controls the country. Bottom 90% has almost no effect on policy, right? But the top 10% is a big group. There's the top 0.1%, that's the bankers, etc., that actually control everything. And the rest of the 10% is filled with doctors, dentists, accountants, lawyers, etc. And they're coming after those guys now. So even when I was at MSNBC and I made good money, I was not in the top brackets that, like, in that place where you can take advantage of all those loopholes, right? So the doctors and the accountants are getting crushed now too. So they're fomenting rebellion without realizing, because they're so incredibly greedy. But now back to the young. The people that are suffering the most are the young, because all the rules have been changed against them and in favor of the already wealthy. And no one in the establishment ever talks about that. All they do is talk down to them, go, oh, you're lazy, entitled, millennials, Gen Z, boo. So tremendous credit to Scott Galloway for accurately showing the numbers. And this is not conjecture. It is stone cold facts that young people have it much harder on housing, student debt, and in every way. So finally someone said it on TV, so I'm very grateful.
Yeah, and he also said, like, look, this is a system that just seeks to benefit people, like the people sitting at this table. So he included himself in that equation, which I value that he said that, and I particularly like the fact that he's telling the truth and pointing out the reality involving these anchors on cable television, who I would venture to say are so disconnected from what ordinary Americans are facing. It shows in their coverage of various stories, right? So I just enjoyed that moment where he kind of called them out and how they're kind of blind to how the system benefits them and really puts young Americans at a disadvantage.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You can interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges, You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.
Yo, Austin, what's going on? Austin, I'm making a podcast. You gonna come on it and talk about being gay? Because I'm down to have you on and talk about being gay, honestly. I'm totally okay with that.
Don't do it anyway.
But only if we talk about... Why don't we talk about being... Why don't we do the opposite and talk about why gay people are gay? And we do that for an entire
You got
podcast.
another lifeline?
just
What are
to
the
see
chances?
who we get as an audience.
What?
And then we ban them everywhere. We find out who they are. What do you think? Austin, I've already made a podcast, dude. It's a one-on-one. I literally already have, but like I already made.
Name is like Scrappy DP or like Scrapey Double Penetration.
I don't know what I'm doing about the Pokey episode.
Wow, you're so clever.
My next episode is with Baby No Money.
Get your
And then after
username.
that, I think
What?
I might have all stick in it. And then I'm gonna ask Lex Friedman. And I'm just gonna talk to him.
Can you talk like a normal human being?
Yeah, I said, did you do that on purpose?
Did I do what on purpose?
Your fucking name, god damn it, I don't trust this guy.
My fucking name? Are you perverted in the head, dude? That came out of your head. That's not what my name... Like, are you that dumb? You think DP means double penetration? Are you that perverted? You spend that much time on Pornhub that you think that DP stands for double penetration? Is that the only thing you could come up with in your fucking perverted head? Are you coming on Apex Legends to sexually harass me because of my name, you weirdo?
You know what? You keep running in front of me like that with your short little black ass, I might.
Do you not watch my Rumble streams where I plot everything I do? Like, it's just
Look at
literally...
how cute that right here, girl. Come here.
Like, I really plan it.
Do you listen to yourself ever? You think that's normal human behavior?
You sound... I'm not trying to make fun of you, but you sound like
another clip of Red.
Dexter from Dexter's
Did she
Lab.
say
if
what
you
she
grew
said
up.
last night?
Yeah, but listen to how you sound, buddy. Have some self-awareness.
Hey, as long as you know we're buddies. We're on the same team, man.
Yeah, okay, pal.
Oh, well, we're pals, too.
Some people can read between the lines.
So you could do a bunch of lines, but I'm supposed to just assume you wouldn't do a scrappy double penetration?
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
Don't you have a child to go take care of or something?
Yeah, right.
So
yeah,
You sound like a very responsible parent.
I know Rosie's for yeah.
Well, I am actually, and also not my
Yeah,
kid,
you
but
surely seem like it.
You are so upset.
Oh yeah, I'm
What did I
upset
do?
right
It's like-
now.
I didn't-
You're so perverted.
You sound a little congested.
We're all weak sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sick.
Don't give up. What?
Yeah.
What is?
I told you you sounded congested.
Is
And I told you I'm fucking sick, bro.
schizophrenia? What the
I'll
fuck?
stop fucking with you. I'm sorry.
You're not fucking with me. You're fucking with yourself and not even realizing it.
You have to be fucking with me. Oh. Yeah, don't run too far. I can't. Lifeline! 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 Good. Here. I can fix this.
Yo, where you going? Where you going, you fucking idiot?
Oh my god.
We need our lifeline. You gotta come res me if I die.
Not necessarily.
Bro, how does her camera shake when she does that?
You've had your disagreements with former president. He's the presumptive nominee. We assume he will be the nominee. Will you support him in 2024?
Well, I've said all along, given two bad choices, I think it's my duty to pick the person I think will do the least harm to the country. And in my mind, that's I will vote the Republican ticket. I will support the Republican ticket. I think the real danger to the country, the real danger to democracy, as I say, is the agenda.
After tucking tail and confirming that he will, in fact, back Donald Trump as the nominee for the Republican Party, Former Attorney
Yeah, they're gonna
General
chase the shit
Bill
out of him.
Barr got some
Look at their stupid
brutal
asses.
mockery in return as
And, you know,
his
we're gonna do
reward
fall right
from
up that
Donald
zip
Trump
line, you know,
himself.
fucking save
This
our
is
boy.
amazing. So let's go to his Truth Social post where he writes, "Wow, former AG Bill Barr, who let a
Yeah,
lot
they're
of
like
great
on
people
your ass,
down
dude.
by not investigating voter fraud in our country,
Nope, one stop.
has just
Yeah.
endorsed me
One
for
stop.
president, despite the
Yeah, one
fact that I
stop, I'm out.
called him weak, slow-moving, lethargic,
Yep, just right
gutless,
over there.
and lazy." And then he has New York Post in parentheses. I'm unsure as to why that is, but he continues. "Based on the fact that I greatly
Who died
appreciate
first,
his
bitch?
wholehearted endorsement, I am removing the word lethargic from my statement. Thank you, Bill. MAGA 2024. Let me just keep this up. Keep it up. Because while he is
I don't know
so
why you
merciful,
think, like,
he
I
is
was,
willing to
like,
remove
bullied me, but I
lethargic.
wasn't, you know?
He's still
Stop.
going to keep weak,
trying to be a funny
slow-moving,
guy.
gutless, and lazy in his statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a clown.
love this.
My
This is
red
great.
nose.
So I have a couple of peripheral points
Pinch
and
my
then the main
fucking-
point. Peripheral ones are the reason he mentions New York
Okay,
Post,
so,
Anna, is because
again,
he
I'm
loves
not
whenever
trying
he's
to,
in the
like, be a bully or
headlines.
anything, but if
And I
you're
think that's
sick,
a
I would,
quote
like,
from the New
assume,
York Post.
You're not a bully. What do you think you are, dude? I would literally ragdoll you if you were in front of me. How could you be a bully to me? I've never been bullied in my entire life.
He's the most insecure man in America.
Imagine calling yourself, imagine saying the words, "I'm not trying to be a bully, but..."
Okay, the second thing is, he said, "Oh, Bill Barr."
Oh, yeah,
voted
okay.
for it. No, actually, he did.
You
Several
sound like
times.
you've been through some
And he
shit.
came back and
Or
said,
maybe somebody bullied
"Look, I
you.
tried."
Yeah,
I did everything I
I've
could.
sure been bullied
And
my
we just
whole
couldn't find
life,
any voter fraud.
right?
Trump said, "Well, why don't you just
I did, I'm not gonna
say
lie.
there was voter fraud?"
I literally have more hand-to-hand combat experience than both of you combined.
But now, here, giant but here.
I would thrash you.
People in Washington will
Military.
think, "Oh, look at this. The guy
Do you
endorses
think the
him."
military is where you get the best hand-to-hand combat experience? Are you naive?
Hijacks him and makes fun of him. What a terrible person. And I get it. I get that. He's thinking
Overseas?
Trump is a terrible person. But I think a lot of regular people
Let
love
me
this
guess,
guy.
you
I
got
love it.
karate.
I love it. I'll say it. I love it.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in
Muay
our
Thai?
news coverage as well. TRT is facing
Dude, I got 4
challenges as the
NCAA
entire
letters,
industry is.
please.
You know
That's
who could
what
make
I'm
the
saying.
difference?
No,
You.
I'm just
If
trying
you
to
hit the
figure
join
it
button
out.
below,
And
it's
then
gonna
I'll meet
make
you in
all
the
difference
cage.
and keep us in business. We appreciate you.
Oh.
Thank you.
This is
Tough
what
man.
you get when you have no principles, right? Bill Barr, in the final month, I
So,
believe it was,
let me
of
just
the
take account
Trump
of all
administration,
the
stepped
things
down
that
because of what
we got
transpired
scrappy
on
double
January 6th.
penetration
He doesn't value
inside a
democracy. You know, Bill
With
Barr
3
presented
UFC
himself
belts
as
to
an
my
individual
name,
with
buddy.
Real values, real principles.
Whoa.
And then he tucks tail and says progressives are a bigger threat to America than the guy who doesn't
Awesome.
value democracy, which led me
And how many have you
to
touched? How many have you trained for?
So he deserves it.
I have never
none, and
trained.
Let's keep lifting.
Yep. But keep running your
He
mouth.
deserves all of it.
Hey, you're the one
Gutless
that's
is the
bragging
best.
and running your mouth, dog.
100%.
Really? You're the one who was pretending like you were bullying me.
Remember, before he went into the Trump administration, he wrote an op-ed saying, the president can do whatever he wants. That's why Trump picked him. So he's always wanted massive executive authority, bordering on
I think you took a little
authoritarianism.
too many
And
knocks to
I
the dome
was
piece.
shocked that he minded the coup.
Yep, I'm
to be
suffering from
honest.
I was
CTE.
too. I was too.
We
but
all
that
will
was a moment where
someday.
I'm like, okay, I disagree
Everything
with
is
Bill
just
Barr
starting to
on
sound like a worst case
everything,
scenario,
but
Yeah, I
he
know.
has
Kinda feel
at
bad.
least
Like my 2
a line.
teammates were
This
the
is a
worst
good
case
line,
scenario,
and I
folded up
respect
like
that.
a
This is a
fucking...
good line to have, at least. And by the way, he went on to criticize Trump pretty vociferously in
Look at the
press
focus.
interviews and even in his own
Checking
book.
all 3 points.
He published his book in 2022, and I want to read an excerpt from it,
he said earlier,
as
2 lines, man.
expressed by the
Two, yeah,
Washington
bam,
Post.
bam, bam,
So
bam,
Barr,
bam,
who
bam.
had a
Just
famous
center
falling out with Trump late in
Oh,
his
no, you
presidency,
reversed it.
wrote that Trump's
Oh, he's spazzing,
constant
he's spazzing.
bellicosity
Is this entertaining for you guys? This is how you spend your
and that in the
nights?
final months of the
Oh, fuck
administration,
yeah.
he came to
Love
realize
it.
that Trump cared only about one
honestly,
thing,
like, if you would've seen
himself.
Seems like I'm bullying you more than
Principle
you're
took
bullying
second
me.
place.
But you know, to each their own.
Okay, there's more.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump
You're
has
definitely
shown
bullying me.
he has
Now you know how I felt when you said that to me.
persuasive
You get how that
power to
works?
provide the kind of positive leadership that is needed. Let's go back to what Donald Trump called
Flip
him,
it and
'cause was
reverse it.
weak, slow-moving, lethargic, gutless, and lazy.
It's actually the most accurate Donald Trump's ever been.
Yeah, I'm just in the trash
I love
bag.
it. I hope Trump mocks him more.
Yeah, and by the way, all the schmucks of the world. I mean, I can't believe Bill Barr is in this.
I said I'm dressed as a trash bag. Do you not know Missy Elliott?
But he's
you don't know misdemeanor?
Welcome you back and then give you goodies. He's gonna slap you around forever because now you're saying I didn't mind the coup attempt. It turns out that wasn't my line. I don't mind if he's a dictator. And what do you think the dictator is going to do to a gutless turd like you?
There's more. There's more. I can't get enough of this. Also in that same year, 2022, Barr calls prospect
That guy
Trump
just
running for
picked that
president
motherfucker
again
up, and he's coming back to
dismayed.
kill me.
Says GOP should look
Ain't gonna
forward
be
to
there.
others. And just a few months ago, he also called him fragile and petty, a petty
Next
man,
fight I die.
who only cares about retribution. And his criticisms did
Why?
earn
Because
him,
my teammates are with
Trump's
me.
ire. He repeatedly and publicly insulted Barr, like in his Truth Social video that we're about to show you.
Bill Barr, a disgruntled former employee and very weak person, and a very, very lazy attorney general, was totally ineffective. What a shame. What a shame. Turn off Fox News when that gutless guy is on. I watch him sitting there and pontificating, sometimes with other rhinos that are almost as bad. When I talk about a slob like Bill Barr, just a stupid person in a lot of ways. I think he's a coward who didn't do his job. Bill Barr is, I think he's more weak than anything else. And now he goes and he sits down, and if they can find a sheriff for him, because it's not that easy. And he sits down and he just bloviates. And it's disgraceful. So it's actually unpatriotic. It's so bad for our country.
Indeed. Cenk, any final words?
Yeah, two last things. And this shows you the Republicans, they really are. The politicians, oh, they're the lowest of the low. After he said all that
John,
stuff
don't go
about
down
it,
this time.
now Barr's back to groveling at his feet.
Oh, it's so sad.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
you just keep your mouth wide open if you're going
For
to do
Bill
it.
Barr, who's been a giant
Johnny.
his entire career, constantly trying to turn this country into an authoritarian government. To see him being stepped on by Trump and him groveling, "Oh, I'm over you, Donald, I'm over you." You pathetic slob. What are you getting out of it? You getting another deal, a lobbyist deal? What are you getting out of it? You getting paid in D.C.? You pathetic creature. Lastly, most importantly, when you see Donald Trump saying those things, the NPR crowd, and look, the NPR crowds are wonderful people overall, intellectual, smart, etc. But they've been taught and trained. We have to be civil citizens.
Here, Johnny, I'm giving a drop to you.
Regular people don't like it if you say weird things. That's not true.
How do you know my name? That's kind of
So
weird.
when Trump says, "What
I
a
yelled it,
shame,
Goofy.
what a shame, godless, can't even."
I
find
found your
a
IP address and hacked you like it was 1992.
Hey,
You know what people hear? People hear someone.
Well, I mean, like,
That's
Well,
what
they do hear
I
comedy, that's true.
mean-
But they hear someone who's not a robot, who's not a plastic
Oh,
politician, and it accidentally gives off a feeling of
That's what I did, everything.
authenticity.
TC.
And he is
That's what
authentic,
thing you do.
but that doesn't mean he's honest. He's authentically dishonest. But what people see, the average person sees is he's not like the other politicians. He's not like the establishment guys with a lot of their BS, okay? He just says whatever comes to mind, and they like that. They like that. But people in the Democratic Party leadership will never get it through their thick skulls. They think guys like Adam Schiff are what the American people want.
We're all monkeys looking for the strongest one to give our bananas. Okay, so
Oh my God, this
I
guy's-
always give
whoa,
you that
what?
analogy because it's just true. People are attracted to strength. So when someone
Don't come here, don't come here, don't come here. You guys should have been here before that if you were going to do it.
tucks tail and says that they're endorsing him, yeah, it's
Not you. I'm talking about this guy.
appealing to some to watch Trump slap him around, and that's what we just witnessed.
100%. Meanwhile, the Democratic politicians are always like, oh, they should apologize to us. Look, last thing. You've seen me 100 times on the show say, look, I'm not asking for an apology from the right wing if I'm attacked or somebody else is
Well, they're
attacked.
up there.
No, I'm going to attack them twice as hard and see how they like them apples. And that's why the Democratic Party hates me. They're like, no, don't attack, just beg for an apology, grovel.
It's actually kind of funny sitting
No,
in the
show
corner
them
like,
that you're
run around.
strong, that you're willing to fight for your vote. Democrats guys
you run to me. How
these
dare
corner
you? And then you run to my
members
corner with that guy.
never, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, where's
There's a chance these bullets will hit you instead, Roy Shield.
Thanks for watching the Young
That's
Turks.
not
Really
cool.
appreciate it.
Look what you
Another
did,
way to
John.
show support is through YouTube
Oh,
memberships.
John,
You get to
stop
interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges.
That's a window.
You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR.
Oh, and that's a
super
Valkyrie.
fun.
And that's
But
a
you also
bug.
get playback of our exclusive member. So all of that, all you
Yeah,
gotta
I
do is
should've
click
left you
that
alone.
join button
I was
right
gonna
underneath the
read the
video. Thank you.
Has President Biden reached out to you recently, asked for his support?
No.
Or your support? He
No.
hasn't. Should he?
It's pretty stupid for him not to. Like, when you're running for office, unless the person, like, morally repulses you, and even then, if it's close.
No one cares about you, Chris Christie. No one cares about you. The idea that it is stupid for Joe Biden not to call Chris Christie and ask for his endorsement. Why? So the 4 people who supported you during the Republican primaries might consider voting for Joe Biden? What was that?
Guys, I'm not joking. I outpolled Chris Christie when I was running for president. We were in the race at the same time, and I had more support as a non-natural born citizen than he did. And he was a former governor of New Jersey.
He's genuinely offended.
Yeah, me too, by the way. Biden hasn't called me.
But guys, okay. I would at least have enough self-awareness. Because I would not carry myself in the way that he is, where he feels that people owe him something.
Yeah, but I know why. So you can see it publicly, but I've also seen it at some venture capital conferences, etc., where he's feted. Like in New York and DC, Chris Christie, they can't get enough. Why? He's the prototypical establishment politician. Will do anything the donors ask him. No muss, no fuss, right? He's not going to pull a Trump and go off the reservation and do things just for himself. He's going to get the normal enrichment that he gets from corruption, etc. He's going to do everything that the donors ask him. He's uniparty all the way. So they love him. And he's anti-Trump. Oh, he's perfect, right? So that's rich folks, donors, media people, other politicians, since they all adore Chris Christie, he says that because they tell him all the time how great he is, so he believes it.
Oh, that's so sad.
And secondly, he thinks, and he's right about this, that elite circle in D.C. will think, oh, that is outrageous. How come Joe Biden hasn't called Chris Christie, a moderate Republican who's in favor of all the same corporate tax cuts and giveaways that we are, and begged him for his support? Yeah, he should do that right away. Pausing here to deliver some honest truth, as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's going to make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you. Thank you.
This is a good rule of thumb, and I think most people operate this way anyway. Most normal people, right? The normies. Don't walk through life expecting others to owe you things, right? Walk through life feeling that no one owes you a damn thing, because that's the reality, okay? So that's what kind of, I wouldn't even say irritated me, I just find it laughable. I mean, it was hilarious what he just said, but why don't we hear more of what he had to say? He's speaking to Leanne Caldwell, and this was an interview that took place yesterday.
President Bush 43 one time said to me when I was running for governor the first time, he called to give me advice, and he said to me, one last thing, buddy. Remember, ask for the vote. You know, you show up in front of these groups, they all think, well, they know I want their vote. People like to be asked. Look at them and say, I want your vote. Ask for the vote. If this were George W. Bush, man, my phone would have rung 5 minutes after I got out of the race. I have to believe it's philosophical with his staff. And they don't want to go there because they're concerned about the far left. Well, God, what if we, go and ask for support from an antichrist like a Republican? We need to be working together, and it would be a smart thing for Biden to do, but so far, no. And I know
The invitation is open.
And I know he's got my number because right after he was elected,
I said some positive things on ABC, and I got in the car to head back to New Jersey, and he called and said, I listened to what you said. Thank you so much. Important for Republicans to be saying that. So he's got the number. I haven't changed it.
Just have some self-respect, bro. Like a little bit of self-respect. This is so... No one cares about you, Chris Christie. No one... You want to know who endorsed Biden in 2020? Wall-to-wall neocons. Wall-to-wall neocons endorsed Biden, okay? Those neocons got absorbed into the Democratic Party, by the way. Did leftists or progressives lose their minds over that? No, Biden's not calling you because he's afraid of leftists or progressives. He's not calling you because he doesn't care about you, Chris Christie. He doesn't think that you're influential. Accept it. And once you accept it, I think you'll live a better life. That self-awareness is a good thing.
Yeah. He says which progressives are fighting Biden in Washington? that they would bother fighting him over Chris Christie? They didn't fight him over paid family leave not being included, public option not being proposed. They didn't fight him over minimum wage or voting rights. They're going to fight him over not calling or calling Chris Christie?
I think what he's referring to is the voters. That, you know, voters who are further on the left would be upset if someone like Chris Christie endorses Biden after Biden gives him a call and kisses his butt?
Yeah, I presumably. Look, Anna, you're right on two counts. One, he's flattering himself. No one is going to be animated enough to care to be mad at Biden for that. Number two, you're totally right that everybody knows, like in the progressive sphere, not in the whole Democratic Party or the whole country, but in our section of the populist left, everyone knows Joe Biden is a Republican light. Like he is. Like I bet his opinion, like his policies from Chris Christie's, like it's a 5-10% difference, almost no difference at all. So nobody's gonna get upset. Oh, I can't believe you agree with the same policies that you have. Of course he does. Joe Manchin, Chris Christie, Joe Biden, their policies are nearly indistinguishable. Okay, so now to your point about an entitlement complex, just real quick. I never once, I didn't think about it until this story when I said I outpolled him. And remember, he's on the Republican side. I'm on the Democratic side. And I got the equivalent in polling about 1.6 million voters on the Democratic side saying, I'd like to vote for this brother, even though he wasn't born in the country. And it never even occurred to me that Biden would call me, even though those are voters he desperately needs. Because I don't have an entitlement complex. Whereas Chris Christie thinks I am owed everything. Last thing, which is hilarious, I bet Biden calls him now. Because that's how weak he is.
Look, if Biden does that, you should have some self-respect. Like,
no, he doesn't have any self-respect at all.
Well, that's true. That's definitely been demonstrated time and time again. But I do want to go to one more video, because in this next one, he's specifically asked point blank, you know, he's not supportive of Donald Trump, clearly. I mean, he's been very critical of Donald Trump. So does that mean that he's supportive of Joe Biden as the current president who should get reelected? Let's watch.
Would you vote for Biden?
I don't think so. No.
RFK Jr.?
No, look, right now, look, things can change because campaigns matter. The one thing I know for sure now is I am not voting for Trump under any circumstances. If he's the only person on the ballot, I'm not voting for Trump. But President Biden, in my view, is past his sell-by date. Right now, I couldn't say to myself, I think Joe Biden is capable of being president today, let alone at 86. And everybody take a breath. He's going to be 4 years older. It's not like they say to you when you get past 85, okay, you only have to be president 3 days a week. You go to Delaware the rest of the time, take time off. No. President is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I don't believe the man's up to it.
I think Chris Christie is going to write his own name in. He's not going to vote for Biden, not going to vote for Trump, not going to vote for RFK Jr. Who are you going to vote for then? You going to write your name in?
No, Jill Stein. No, that's a great point. I bet he does. That's the kind of egomaniac he is. By the way, what's also telling about politics is if Biden had called him, he wouldn't have said any of those things.
Yep.
That's how greasy politicians are. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat, emojis, badges, You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun.
You just do that?
Playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video.
President Harry Truman pledged their support to Taiwan against any possible attack from mainland China. Truman also sent the 7th Fleet into the waters that separated Taiwan and China to act as a barrier between the two, as well as a show of strength to Chairman Mao. The move influenced Mao, who in 1949 had proclaimed the importance of unifying Taiwan into China to create one China. A year later, Truman had shown that the U.S. would oppose their plans. In 1954, the new U.S. President, Dwight Eisenhower, signed a mutual defense treaty with Taiwan that made America's promise of protection official. Now, the U.S. wasn't just actively defending Taiwan, but deploying nuclear weapons for the small nation. These moves weren't the only ones that upset Mao. On June 25, 1945, between South and North Korea. Seeing North Korea as a potential communist ally, Mao likely intended to support North Korea with Chinese forces. America knew this. In response, the U.S. sent 10 B-29 bombers to the Pacific, each configured to drop nuclear weapons to send a message to China. Enter this war, and China will suffer the same fate as Japan. So began claims from China that the United States was using nuclear blackmail to dictate how it wanted to see the rest of the world run. These claims were reinforced by less than encouraging messages that emerged from the United States during and after the Korean conflict. In 1954, General Curtis LeMay, then the commander of U.S. Strategic Air Command, said there are no suitable strategic air targets in Korea when talking about America's potential response to a resumption of hostilities between North and South Korea. However, he said, I would drop bombs in possible places like China, Manchuria, and southeastern Russia. LeMay went on to refer to the statement as an example of the poker games that the U.S. would have to play on a global geopolitical level. But to China, it was yet another threat from the United States about what would happen
It just went
if
up there?
attempted to invade South Korea to support its northern ally. All of these issues were the prelude to what would come next.
Can you
China
craft them
starts
here
to
or
build
no?
its first nuclear bomb. Before the end of 1954, China established the Third Ministry of Machinery Building, later renamed to the Second Ministry, and now dubbed the China National Nuclear Corporation, to start working on a nuclear weapon. But Mao had a problem. His scientists had no idea how to build a nuclear bomb. But it didn't need to because it had an ally in the form of the Soviet Union. Both during and after World War II, Russia had focused all of its efforts on achieving parity with
Can you craft
and
them or
eventually
no?
exceeding the United States' nuclear capabilities. It had succeeded, and according to the Nuclear Weapons Education Project, was more than happy to help China in its quest to become a nuclear power. After all, China was a communist nation. The Soviet Union was a communist collective of countries.
Well, if we're gonna
Even
get him,
the
I'm gonna
two
have to go
quibbled
back
over
and get
the
him up
specifics
over
of
there
their shared
after you
doctrine.
craft
They
him.
could unite to present the
Never
strongest
mind.
possible opposition to their common
Never mind.
In the spirit of this cooperation, the Soviets shared secrets with the Chinese, helping Mao to establish Beijing's Institute of Physics and Atomic Energy.
Smovic War
At the
says,
same time, Soviet
rats.
scientists aided China in developing a gaseous diffusion uranium
I'm not
enrichment,
surprised.
giving China the ability to create weapons-grade uranium for its bomb. Then came 1957. It was in this year that the Soviet Union
Smovic
agreed
War
to send one
says,
of its atomic
Cam
bombs,
Pig.
along
I
with
need a
data
different drop
explaining
and
how
then I
the
can go
bomb
get
worked,
both of you.
to Beijing. Now equipped with an understanding of how to build the bomb, as well as the uranium it would need in construction, China was in position to create its own nuclear weapons. The work didn't come easy. Though the Soviet and Chinese scientists were cooperating and would continue to do so for several years, China didn't manage to build its first nuke during the 1950s. Worse yet, 1959 brought with it a blow to Mao's ambitions as the Soviet Union declared an end to the mutual exchange that enabled the two countries' nuclear scientists to collaborate and share secrets. The nuclear bond between China and Russia was shattered amidst rising political and philosophical tensions, each suspecting the other of using the secret shared between the scientists to further their own ends. Still, China persevered. There was no way for the Soviets to help it. The country's scientists had learned more than enough to build a bomb, and they could do it without arousing suspicion from the U.S. Yes, America was aware of the past cooperation between the Soviets and China, but it didn't know how deep that cooperation had extended. Furthermore, the CIA appeared to greatly underestimate China's ability to enrich uranium, with the few satellite images it had of China's enrichment plant doing little to shed light on the issue. The 1950s may not have indicated that China could produce nuclear weapons, but the 1960s told a very different story. On October 16, 1964, China conducted its first successful test of an atomic bomb. Containing enriched uranium produced within the country, the test was a clear message not only to Taiwan but the U.S. We have the world's most dangerous weapon in our hands. Dubbed Project 596, the test occurred at Lop Nur, with the bomb having a 22-kiloton yield. That was roughly equivalent to Russia's first atomic bomb, the RDS-1, showing that China still had a way to go to catch up to the U.S. and the Soviet Union. Still, it now had a bomb that could cause as much damage as the Fat Man that America had dropped on Nagasaki, sparking alarm within the U.S. However, if President Lyndon B. Johnson's statement in the wake of the test is to be believed, the U.S. wasn't taken by surprise. He claims that the explosion had been taken into account in planning America's own defense program and our nuclear capability. He also warned against overestimating the significance of the test, claiming that it would take China many more years to go from being a nation that could test nuclear weapons to one that would have a stockpile of nukes that had an effective delivery system. In short, he attempted to downplay China's achievement, but he was wrong. China's nuclear program was accelerating at an alarming rate. As for the delivery issue, China was much faster in finding a solution than Johnson had claimed. He failed to account for, or had tactically decided not to tell the American people, about China's Dongfeng 2 medium-range ballistic missile. Dubbed the DF-2, the medium-range ballistic missile, or MRBM, had an effective range of 776 miles and could travel at 20 knots. Granted, this was nowhere near enough a range to threaten the U.S., but South Korea? That might be another story. To demonstrate its new missile delivery system, China took an unprecedented step that hasn't been repeated by any other nation since. It conducted a test launch over civilian-populated areas. After loading a 12-kiloton warhead into the missile, China launched it from the Shuangchengxi missile test site, from which it soared over Gansu province before impacting and detonating at the Lop Nur test site. This was a startling move, showing a shocking disregard for the people in the Gansu province. But it was also a display of strength, once more aimed at the U.S., that showed that China did indeed have the technology to launch its nuclear bombs. Granted, it still didn't have a huge stockpile, but if it needed to launch, it could. There was more. On June 17, 1967, just 32 months after its successful test of an atomic bomb, China completed its first test of a thermonuclear device. No other country had reached that point as quickly. For the U.S., it had taken 86 months before it could claim to have a hydrogen bomb. Russia had taken 75 months, with the UK requiring 66. France, the fourth nation to build a thermonuclear device, needed 105 months. These successful tests prompted further work in the nuclear arena. During the mid-1960s, Mao implemented his third line construction policy. His policy stated that China has three lines of defense. Its eastern coastal areas were its first, with the central areas being the second. Only far to the west would an invading force find the third line, which would be precisely where Mao would store and continue to build his nuclear arsenal. China's chairman focused on the steel, aerospace, and nuclear industries in his construction efforts. He built redundant facilities within China's interior, ensuring that should an invading force attack its existing facilities to the east, its workers would simply migrate to the west and continue to work. These redundant facilities also had to be staffed in the interim, with Mao fixing this issue by forcefully migrating some unfortunate civilians to the area. That migration might have dealt with some minor domestic unrest, but that was joining up China's defenses. From 1966 to 1975, the third line was a prominent part of China's third and fourth five-year economic plans. By 1975, the country had a new gaseous diffusion uranium enrichment facility, this one in Yiping, with a reactor and an extraction facility capable of producing plutonium. Add to that a new nuclear weapon design factory built in Yangyang, as well as a component plant focused on nuclear fuel, and China's third line essentially became its nuclear line. China's advancement had been impressive. According to the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, or CDIP, the country had amassed 75 nuclear weapons by 1975. It was a formidable stockpile, albeit much smaller than those of the U.S. and Russia, which had amassed stockpiles numbering. For the rest of the decade, China focused on slowly building up its nuclear arsenal, along with further developing the third line. The 1980s brought with them turmoil in China's leadership. Chairman Mao died in 1976 and was succeeded by Huang Guofeng. He lasted 5 years in the role, leading until 1981, before Hu Yaofeng took control. He was succeeded by Zhao Ziyang in 1987, who served for 2 years, before Jiang Zemin came to power in 1989. He'd eventually lead through the turn of the millennium. Throughout the 1980s, China focused on consolidating and modernizing its nuclear array. More and more missiles were being built, with the Chinese stockpile stabilizing at between 200 and 260 during the early part of the decade. At this point, a more pressing matter for the country was taking all of its nuclear knowledge and turning it into something new, a way to generate power. In 1985, China began work on the Qinshen nuclear power plant, which would be located in Haiyan County in Zhejiang Province. Phase 1 of this construction process would involve the creation of a small unit capable of generating 300 megawatts of power. It was a slow start, though it was notable because 95% of the components used to design the plant came from domestic manufacturers. Phase 2 occurred between 1996 and 1997, with Phase 3 running throughout 1998. The former saw a pair of 600 megawatt plants of Chinese design being created. Only these plants used steam generators created by the Canadian manufacturer Babcock & Wilcox. As for Phase 3, this involved building a pair of reactors with a gross power of 728 megawatts, this time using a CANDU reactor designed by Atomic Energy of Canada Limited. These latter phases marked an interesting move toward cooperation on the nuclear front, as they represented the most significant business dealings between China and Canada up to that point. The plant was officially connected to the grid in 1991, and China could now produce power using nuclear technology. But while it made a slow start in this area, its weapons-based focus lay on treaties and development. In 1994, the country announced a series of tests to improve the safety features of its existing nuclear warheads. However, some believe these tests actually aided the development of the country's first intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, and helped develop multiple warhead capabilities for its missiles. Those tests ran for 2 years before China signed the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, or CTBT, in 1996. That signing showcased a shift in Beijing's approach to nuclear non-proliferation. Previously, China argued that the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, or NPT, was imbalanced and discriminated against other countries trying to develop nuclear weapons. That attitude changed in the 1980s. And in 1990, the country's then premier, Zhao Ziyang, attended the 4th NPT conference. 2 years later, China acceded to the NPT, officially claiming its position as a nuclear weapon state, and in doing so, its commitment to being bound by the NPT. These were logical moves. Ever since its first successful test of nuclear weapons in 1964, China has operated under a no-first-use policy, in which it claimed that it would only use its weapons as a direct response to another country using theirs. By first signing the NPT in 1994, followed by the CTBT in 1996, China became an official part of the nuclear community, but it was not without its scandals. Despite its supposed commitment to non-proliferation, China sold ring magnets used in gas centrifuges that extract weapons-grade uranium from uranium gas to Pakistan in 1995. A year later, the country provided the design for a nuclear bomb to Pakistan, with those designs eventually passing through Pakistan and into Libya. They eventually were discovered by the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, in 2004 when Libya's president, Muammar Gaddafi, announced that the country would no longer pursue nuclear weapons development and manufacture. Libya submitted to IAEA for inspection, which is when documents on how to build an implosion device that contained Chinese text were discovered. Nevertheless, China remained committed to non-proliferation, at least outwardly. Its actions might have told another story, but it no longer seemed to be engaged in clandestine nuclear weapons production. Instead, the country focused on developing more nuclear plants. As part of China's economic reforms triggered at the turn of the millennium, the country focused on expanding its electricity sector. Its 10th five-year plan, which covered 2001 to 2005, included a commitment to guarantee energy security. Wide-scale construction of new nuclear plants started, all in aid of China reaching a plant capacity of 58 gigawatts by 2020. However, those plans didn't come to fruition thanks in part to the Fukushima nuclear plant disaster in Japan. The world's second worst nuclear accident triggered a slowdown in Chinese nuclear plant creation, likely so they could reevaluate safety measures. Still, China managed to reach a total installed capacity of just over 51 gigawatts and has plans to increase that to 200 by 2035, ideally accounting for 10% of the country's power needs. But where China's nuclear power plant expansion is inward-focused, ideally eliminating its reliance on coal, Its approach to nuclear weapons over the last decade has been more worrying. China is strengthening, and its change in approach all comes down to the rise of one man, Xi Jinping. By 2015, China focused almost exclusively on domestic weapon design and manufacturing, both conventional and nuclear. Granted, it still imports the occasional piece of equipment, such as jet engines from Russia, but China has a clear goal of developing one of the most impressive militaries on the planet. And with that military comes immense investment into nuclear warhead manufacture and the design and development of new ways to launch those warheads. Under Jinping's reign, China has built 6 Shan-class submarines, named the Type 94, that are capable of firing submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or SLBMs, that can travel thousands of miles. Its current SLBMs, the JL-2s, are currently being replaced by the longer-range JL-3 missiles, which the Nuclear Threat Initiative says are capable of traveling about 6,200 miles. China is also focusing on creating new ICBMs. Ever since July 1986, the country's Academy of Launch Vehicle Technology, or CALT, has been working on an ICBM called the Dongfang 41, or DF-41, capable of carrying a 5,500-pound payload. This lethal ICBM can carry up to 10 nuclear warheads and is both road and rail mobile. Its maximum range is believed to be somewhere between 7,450 and 9,320 miles, giving it almost triple the range of America's Minuteman III ICBMs, and it's been tested extensively. According to the CSIS Missile Defense Project, the first official test of the DF-41 took place in July 2012. A year later came a launch from Wuzhai, and 2014 and 2015 brought tests of launches including multiple nuclear warheads. It's a masterpiece of nuclear warhead delivery design, and it's well beyond anything that the United States currently has to offer. It's also emblematic of Xi Jinping's approach to China's nuclear policy as we draw deeper into the 2020s. Maintaining warheads for purposes of national defense is no longer enough. China can no longer simply be a nuclear power. It must become the nuclear power. That's why the country's stockpiles are growing at such a rapid rate. The 1,500 warheads the Pentagon claims China will have built by 2035 will put the country into parity with Russia and the United States, with its massive delivery systems being among the best the world has to offer. Add to that an increasing reliance on nuclear power, which encourages more research that could aid the country's weapons production, and China has evolved into a genuine nuclear threat. Whether that threat will ever be realized is anybody's guess, especially given China's supposed commitment to not using its nukes first. But one thing is for certain, China has come a long way in the nuclear race since it first started trading secrets with the Soviets in the 1950s to counteract America's nuclear blackmail. Are you impressed by the many steps China took and continues to take on its journey to becoming a genuine nuclear power? How do you think the United States, as well as other nuclear powers like Russia, should respond to China's growing arsenal? Tell us in the comments section below, then check out why China will never be a global superpower, or watch this video instead.
Shein's reputation is well established at this point. They've made a multi-billion-dollar business out of selling clothing that looks good in a fake photo and then maybe after a wash or two, but that is ultimately designed to end up in the landfill before the next big fad reaches critical mass. What you probably didn't know is that you can buy computer parts there. I'm not saying you should. Shein's business practices are as controversial as their clothing is bad, and Shein's pricing on computer hardware makes Wish.com look good. I mean, look at this AMD 5600G CPU. $185 US? This gives Americans a taste of what it's like to be Canadian or Australian. I mean, guys, if I could have gotten away with saying we bought this and just grabbing one from the warehouse, I would have. But so much of the experience of buying from these marketplaces is the packaging and the delivery. So welcome to the all Shein setup. It's going to be dumb, but even more importantly, it's going to be filled with surprises. I have no idea what's in store for us all. I see a Soyo graphics card, though. That's a name I haven't seen in a long time. You know who else I haven't seen in a long time? Our sponsor, Odoo. Their all-in-one business software.
There's those earrings so prominently, looks like a douche.